What's going on, everybody? Master Wang back after a long break, but let me tell you right now, I might actually be a little bit of a hiccup right now because this is actually meant to fit. Because I actually already had the video planned out for this one, but when I got part one, part two, and part three done, it was the part one part of the video went away, so I have to make up for that part one, or else I want to do the whole thing all over again, and God forbid I want to do that. So I'm gonna repeat myself as best as I can here. Um, right now, going on with me, the reason I've been off for so long, with making these videos is because a lot of in real life activities, having to owe money, pay bills, and stuff like that. It's the college life, but I'm trying to get by. So trying to get back on track, but it's the videos you want, so I'm gonna try and give it to you as best as I can. I have made the decision for about a week now or 2 weeks even, that I want to judge at the A-KON Kage. Uh, Even with the fact of James having two other people with him. And if that's the case, if he really does tell me like we don't need you, go ahead and play, then that's fine. Um, the it was just the reason I say this because he's got the Jonin and the Kage going on. He's got the Kage all in one day. So and the problem with the last one was because you had the Dragon Ball Z demo tournaments and the Kage going on at the same time last year. Um, so he's got two people with him. Uh, and he might actually be fine without me, but I'm still trying to get the final word on that. So you might see me play, you might not. So oh, that felt good. Um, so right now, what I'm going to be doing right now is to giving you some tips and suggestions about the Kage and what attitudes and following up with some with some rulings that you all probably would need to know. Some minor FAQs. Um, First off, tip number one, in terms of how things are going to be done at the Kage, show up within an hour early. And I suggest no less than 15 minutes early. Excuse me, no less than a half hour early. Um, because you're going to need to fill out a deck list, and I really strongly suggest that all of you take your time with that. You check the cards you have in your deck, uh, check them the night before, check them the day of, check them when you get there. That you have all the cards you want and need in there, so that you can write them up just fine, not have any problems. Uh, and by all means, people, write your name on the darn deck list. This is not going to be your casual shop to where where we will simply be able to hand the sheet back to you and say, yeah, just go ahead and write your name right there. Upon that, if we come to calling out our matches, when we call out our matches, and we don't have your name written down, it'll end up as a game loss for you. Okay? That's the ruling. It's not our personal judgment, it's the rules. Okay? Bandai is a very generous organization, but in terms of Kages and Jonins, let alone Sonin, they do not mess around with the rules. So so when you get that deck list, first thing you should do, write your name. I really don't want to see anybody throwing a fit or having a temper tantrum because they did not write their name on the darn deck list. This is like writing your name on a test, folks. You don't write your name, it's not going to be good. Okay? It's going to end up as a game loss. Not a match loss, but a game loss. Okay? So so for your sake, and actually be the sportsman about this, okay? If you see somebody with their deck list and they don't have their name written on it, just be sure to send a friendly reminder like, yeah, man, don't forget to write your name on it or else they'll give you a game loss for it. I'll even be doing that if I'm walking around at the time. If I don't have my own deck list to fill out. So really, because that was a big problem. We had with being late, we had like 3 or 4 people that were ended up being late, and we actually were generous enough to actually let them fill out their deck lists before and push back the tournament in terms of time by no more than a half hour, however. But we were still a bit annoyed with that, and also we had 5 or 6 people drop out of the tournament just because they lost or they got a game loss from not writing their name on the form. Okay? Now, let me tell you something. I don't like it when people drop out unless there's something else in the convention that they think is more fun to go to. I understand that the game might not be the most fun thing you'll ever do at A-KON. By all means. I think it's going to be a great convention, especially with it being its 20th anniversary. I can let you go on that one, but by all means, people, just because you get a game loss, just because you don't write your name on something, don't throw a fit. Okay? If you don't like the ruling, don't show it. You keep that information to yourself because it's just silly to be frustrated with a rule and not with yourself. Okay? And frankly, I don't want to see anybody drop out. Okay? Just because if they didn't write their name. So it's all the more I really don't like seeing that whatsoever. It's just a poor attitude. Nobody wants to see it. Nobody. So, and I'll move on to tip number 3 in this case. Study the erratas and rulings very carefully. Look up on the website. They're all there. Look up the erratas and clarifications for every set. They are short but simple. Okay? If you know the basic functions of the game, a lot of them are simple to understand, okay? And seriously put in an effort to check the rulings and to check the clarifications about your stuff, okay? You guys really, it would do better for you guys to know this, okay? And the rulings I'm going to give you might just help you structure your deck just a little bit afterwards, okay? Because what I'm doing are a little bit of fundamental clarifications, just so you know. But do study up on your erratas and clarifications and understand the turn steps. Understand what a mission phase, the organization phase, the battle phase, and what the battle phase and the steps in the battle phase are. The attacking, the blocking, the exchange of jutsu, and the showdown, and then the end phase. Okay? So understand your steps because there will be people out there who will call you on, say, if you deploy a ninja and then you rearrange them, but then you forgot to play a mission or charge a card from your hand, and you want to do that. Your opponent is obligated to, and more than likely will, not let you do it. Because you already went to your organization phase and you could only play a mission or charge cards from your hand during your mission phase. And frankly, you might hold it against them, but it is a legit way to do it. I don't like it when people do that either, but it's legit and I can't argue with it. So really do your best to avoid that. Take your time. Don't rush yourself. I don't want to say take your time, but don't rush yourself in terms of playing cards. Understand how the turn structure works and you'll be fine. Other than that, and by the way, guys, if I do end up judging, be careful for what you call me out for. Because whether I double check this with James or not is beyond that. I'm going to, if I see something as stupid as for a reason that I'm being called over for. I mean, if it's for card reasoning, okay, I can understand this, okay, but there are some things that people call me on for, and then when I give it to them, they argue with me. Let me tell you this on behalf of James and the 2 other judges. I don't know who the other 2 judges are going to be. On behalf of them, let me tell you this. If you hear something you don't like, if you feel compelled, if you really feel strongly to argue, and if you really don't agree with their ruling, for starters, they're probably going to, if you argue with their ruling, they're going to show you where they're right. They will compile the rest of their judges, and probably including me, if need be. They can even call on me to even clarify some rules. Okay? They will whip out a big book on you, and they will explain it. But, by no means, freaking shout or throw a fit. Okay? Don't keep telling us that you heard it from a friend, you've been playing it like this, and telling the judges that they are wrong. The only way you'll be able to start doing that is if you're actually right. And by that time, you're not ever going to say it. If you think we're going to be wrong, you be courteous about it. Okay?